Oh.
Yes.
Okay. Detroit is a major city, is what we can call mega city by the standards of the Midwest. Midwest is the central area of the United States, is a huge city. It was chosen by major car manufacturers because it was near oil sources, coal sources, lots of sources of energy. Lots of cheap labor, mainly Arabs, were hired, and actually they did a great job, mainly in the 1940s and 1950s. So it became the hub, the center of car manufacturing in all the United States of America. Things went smoothly until it was hit twice. Once in 1970s, after what we call in the Arab world October 6th October War, and they call in Israel Yom Kippur War. At the time, the oil prices skyrocketed. It was doubled almost 15 times. And this meant a huge hit to the demand over cars. Because my budget at the time was to buy a car for something like $2,000. Suddenly, the prices of energy went up, so I had to allocate almost 15 times what I used to think of. However, it came out well when the government bailed them out. That is, the government paid them money so they would not discontinue their production. They wouldn't end up stopping manufacturing. It was hit again almost 7 years ago when something called housing bubble. Lots of houses were very cheap in Midwest, in the US in general, but in Midwest to be more specific, and in Detroit as well. Suddenly this bubble burst. So now, let's think about it, I have a house that was worth of $100,000, but I cannot pay for it. I cannot pay the price. So what I would do is do something called foreclosure, that is to sell it back to the bank. This happened throughout the Midwest and actually throughout the US, but Detroit was hit the most for so many reasons, including the huge number of workers who used to live on debt. The US has a very negative phenomenon called to live beyond your needs, to live on credit card. In other words, you do not pay as you go. What happens is you pay using the credit card, so it becomes a debt on you. People traditionally would have huge debt and still consuming, until they get to a point where they cannot pay back even the minimum they are supposed to pay for the debt they got. Suddenly everything went to halt. Nobody's paying and nobody is buying and nobody's selling. It was almost a depression, very close to a depression. It was just a recession. Detroit was hit the most because almost all car manufacturers stopped working. Lots of downsizing, laying off workers and employees. At this specific point, once you have this phenomenon, people stop paying taxes. So the city went bankrupt. Because the city depends on taxing people. People stopped paying taxes because they stopped getting salaries. So they went to a point where the city went bankrupt. The word bankrupt means that it has to pay for all the services, for the security and so on, but it has nobody to supply the city and the city administration with more money. They hope that the government, the national government in Washington, D.C. would help them again. But it said, if I do that to Detroit, this means that I have to do it to almost other 50 or 60 cities that are almost in the same situation. So definitely they are in a bad situation. People are leaving. Once they find a job anywhere, actually Michigan in general is losing people. Lots of people are migrating from Michigan to Texas, to Louisiana, to Florida, to California, and so on. So definitely Detroit is, you can call it a tale of a great city that's going bankrupt.
Okay. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. Hopefully this is what you want.
Yes,
Thank you.
exactly.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye-bye.